National Guard helicopters descending on a Detroit police station like something out of a military operation. Sirens wailing, federal agents swarming the building, and one corrupt sergeant being dragged out in handcuffs. But this story isn't about what you think it is. This is about what happens when a father's love for his country meets his daughter's unwavering commitment to justice, and how sometimes the most broken people can find their way back to the light. Bobby Martinez adjusts his worn baseball cap as he drives through the familiar streets of Detroit. At 45, his hands still shake slightly from the IED blast that ended his military career 3 years ago. The Purple Heart on his dashboard catches the afternoon sun as he heads home from the auto shop where he volunteers, teaching young mechanics the trade that's kept his mind busy since returning from Iraq. The red and blue lights appear in his rearview mirror without warning. Bobby's heart rate spikes, not from guilt but from the familiar anxiety that grips many veterans during unexpected confrontations. He pulls over carefully, hands visible on the steering wheel. Sergeant Danny Walsh approaches, with the swagger of a man who's never questioned his own authority. At 38, he's built a reputation for being tough on what he calls troublemakers, a category that seems to include anyone who doesn't fit his narrow view of respectable citizens. License and registration, Walsh barks, his hand resting on his weapon despite Bobby's calm compliance. Of course, officer. I'm reaching for my wallet now, Bobby says, moving slowly and deliberately. Years of combat taught him to read dangerous situations, and every instinct screams that this man is looking for trouble. Walsh's eyes narrow as he spots the military decal on Bobby's window. Another one of those hero types, huh? Think the uniform makes you special? The words sting more than Bobby expects. He's heard them before, the bitter resentment some people harbor toward veterans, as if their service somehow threatens rather than protects. I'm just trying to get home to my family, sir, Bobby replies, keeping his voice steady. But Walsh isn't interested in de-escalation. Within minutes, he's ordered Bobby out of the car, claiming he smells marijuana, a lie that both men know. The search that follows is aggressive, demeaning, designed to humiliate rather than investigate. When Walsh plants a small bag of pills in Bobby's glove compartment, Bobby's world tilts. Those aren't mine, he says, but his voice carries the hollow ring of a man who knows he's not going to be believed. The arrest is brutal. Walsh's knee finds Bobby's injured back, exactly where shrapnel still sits too close to his spine to remove. The pain is excruciating, but it's the humiliation that cuts deepest, being treated like a criminal in the country he served. Lying on the cold concrete of the holding cell, Bobby manages to activate the emergency app on his phone before the guards confiscate it. The message is simple, code red. Help me. 2,000 miles away, Lieutenant Colonel Maria Martinez is reviewing case files when her phone buzzes. Her father's emergency signal freezes her blood. Maria has spent 15 years in military intelligence, specializing in corruption investigations, but nothing has ever felt as personal as this moment. She's on a plane within hours, her mind racing through possibilities. Her father is many things, stubborn, proud, sometimes too trusting, but he's never been careless. If he's in trouble, it's because someone put him there. The call to her contacts at the FBI is brief but effective. I need everything you have on the Detroit PD, specifically any officers involved in my father's arrest. And I need it now. What she discovers makes her stomach turn. Sergeant Walsh's record is a pattern of misconduct complaints, suspicious arrests, and a network of officers who seem to specialize in targeting veterans and minorities. The pills found in her father's car match a batch that's been showing up in questionable arrests across the city. Maria's training kicks in. This isn't just about her father anymore. It's about a systematic corruption that's been destroying lives for years. She makes another call, this one to the federal task force she's been working with on police corruption cases. I'm coming to Detroit, she tells the lead investigator, and I'm bringing everything we have on police corruption networks. It's time to shut this down. The helicopters arrive at dawn, just as Walsh is starting another shift, probably planning to fabricate evidence against another innocent person. Federal agents pour into the station like a flood, armed with warrants and enough evidence to bring down half the department. Maria walks into the interrogation room where her father sits, still in his orange jumpsuit. The sight of him, this man who taught her about honor and service, in handcuffs nearly breaks her composure. Hi, Dad, she says softly, removing his restraints. Maria, how did you? Bobby starts, but she cuts him off with a hug that speaks volumes about their relationship. You taught me to always come when family calls, she whispers. Outside, Walsh is being read his rights, his face a mask of disbelief and rage. The drugs he planted have been traced to a supply chain that includes 3 other officers and 2 evidence clerks. The corruption runs deeper than anyone imagined. This is harassment. Walsh shouts as the handcuffs click shut. That veteran is a drug dealer, and you're all too politically correct to see it. But the evidence speaks louder than his protests. Financial records show unexplained deposits, phone records reveal coordination between arrests, and most damning of all, security footage from a nearby business shows Walsh planting the drugs in Bobby's car. As Walsh is led away, he catches sight of Bobby through the station window. For a moment, their eyes meet, the corrupt officer and the veteran he tried to destroy. Bobby's expression isn't one of triumph, but of profound sadness for what this man has become. Federal prison is a different world from the streets where Walsh once wielded power. Here, his badge means nothing, and his attitude makes him enemies quickly. The first few months are brutal, other inmates don't take kindly to corrupt cops, and Walsh finds himself on the receiving end of the violence he once dealt out. It's during a particularly bad beating that another inmate intervenes. Carlos Rivera is quiet, unassuming, serving time for a financial crime that destroyed his family. What Walsh doesn't know is that Carlos is a Marine veteran who served 3 tours in Afghanistan. "You remind me of someone," Carlos says one day as they're walking the yard. "A sergeant in my unit who thought he was better than everyone else." Funny thing about war, it shows you who people really are. The conversation that follows is unlike anything Walsh has experienced. Carlos tells him about the night his unit was ambushed, how they were pinned down for hours, how they thought they were all going to die. And then he tells him about the helicopter pilot who risked everything to save them. "Martinez," Carlos says, "Captain Bobby Martinez, flew into hell to pull us out, lost his bird in the process, nearly died himself, but he got us home." The words hit Walsh like a physical blow. The man he tried to destroy, the veteran he humiliated and framed, had once risked his life to save soldiers like Carlos. The realization is crushing. That night, Walsh stares at the ceiling of his cell, replaying every interaction with Bobby. The calm dignity in the face of his aggression. The way Bobby never fought back, never lost his composure. The profound sadness in his eyes as Walsh was led away. For the first time in years, Walsh cries. Not from self-pity, but from the crushing weight of what he's become. 2 years later, Walsh is a different man. He started a support group for veterans in the prison, using his experience with the system to help them navigate the challenges of incarceration. His transformation isn't complete. Healing never is, but it's real. The letter he writes to Bobby takes him weeks to finish. It's not an excuse or a justification, but a simple acknowledgement of the harm he caused and a promise to do better. Bobby's response surprises him. "Forgiveness isn't about forgetting," the letter reads. "It's about choosing to break the cycle. I'm proud of the work you're doing." When Walsh is released, he finds work with a nonprofit that helps formerly incarcerated veterans reintegrate into society. It's difficult work, often thankless, but it gives his life meaning he never had before. The day he meets Bobby again is at a veterans support meeting. Walsh almost doesn't recognize the man he once tormented. Bobby's confidence has returned, his purpose clear. They don't embrace, but they shake hands, and in that moment, both men understand that redemption is possible, even for the most broken among us. Maria watches from the back of the room, proud of her father's capacity for forgiveness, and amazed by the power of second chances. The system she helped reform is working, slowly but surely, creating space for healing instead of just punishment. The story ends not with perfect resolution, but with hope, the kind of hope that only comes when people choose to be better than they were. If this story moved you, if it made you think about the veterans in your own community or the importance of accountability in our institutions, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me about a time when someone gave you a second chance or when you chose forgiveness over revenge. And if you want to hear more stories about real people overcoming impossible odds, hit that subscribe button and join our community of people who believe in the power of human transformation. Because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to find our way home.